Good evening, everyone. It's Nick here for Critical Hit, and we're going to be watching the brand new Pacific Rim Uprising. I would have asked these guys in the background, the peanut gallery, to contribute, but apparently they're quite rubbish at that. So, there we go. So after this, we'll let us know what we think of it. I'm hoping it's going to be Jaeger fun. They should actually be issuing Jaeger Meisters out to us. That was a funny joke, but apparently not so funny. So fuck off. Catch you guys later.
This is our time. This is our chance to make a difference.
Well, he's pretty big.
Fire everything you've got!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Nick here, and it's a public holiday, so I'm going to enjoy some gin and tonic while I'm doing this review. And this will be a review of the brand new Pacific Rim Uprising. Kervin and I managed to see a pre-screening last night. I was very excited about watching it because it's kaiju, it's Jaegers beating each other up, and it's great fun. The first movie, loved the first movie. I've seen it about 6 times. Definitely became a cult following. However, what it didn't do was deliver at the box office. So it was actually saved by the Chinese audience. I'm talking about the first movie now, and you can see that with Stephen DeKnight, that's the director of this movie, number 2. He was the director of Spartacus, so he knows his action beats. Certainly not at this scale, but he did a very, very good job in this. I think he actually did much better than the first one, but we'll get to why just now. So yes, in order to save this movie, or at least make sure that they're going to make money, a lot of it is set in China, has a large Asian cast. This is set 10 years after the first movie, so you still have Mako, Idris Elba's adopted daughter, I suppose. And this time around we have John Boyega. Now he plays Jake Pentecott. Now, where was he in the first movie? He's the son of Idris Elba's character. I forget his bloody name, I really should learn what it is. Anyway, he's the son, but he wasn't in the first movie. You do find out that he was kicked out of the program because he was, trying to sort of step into his father's shoes, and he tried to do something which was stupid, and so he was thrown up. But where was he? But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is plot hole 101. But the rest of the movie is great. There are, like I say, a lot of plot holes in it that it seems that the director has a lot more fun with this, or had a lot more fun with this movie. He certain scenes, like montages, for example, where they're trying to fix things, which would probably otherwise take months, are done within a couple of hours, and he embraces that. He embraces the silly of this movie, and so do the lot of the characters. Actually, it's a very funny movie. John Boyega is brilliant. I mean, his timing is excellent. He's shown that in Star Wars, I think. And in this, he certainly does a great job of being charming, of being confident, but also at the same time of being kind of wounded, because he really, wanted to step up and show his dad that he can do the right stuff, and he does do that in this movie too. So the movie's premise, at the very beginning anyway, is that the Jaegers are being basically automated. Okay, so they're being turned into drones, and that means that you won't have to have pilots. You don't have to have 2 people that are able to drift together. It just means that someone who's sitting anywhere in the world, is able to control one of these huge, mighty monsters, or beasts, and basically get on with it. So it's kind of like stealth. I don't know if you guys remember stealth, where the stealth craft is powered by a quantum computer or something along those lines. Excuse me. And obviously the pilots don't like that. So in this, it's very briefly touched on with that. And I say briefly because this movie takes quite a few twists and turns as far as the story is concerned. There was a big sort of blindside that comes along halfway through, and you're like, what? But you'll go, what? I like that. And you really, really will. It is a lot more tight. I have to say, the story is a lot tighter than the first movie. And the nice thing about the second is that it does bring in a lot of elements, a lot of story elements that were in the first that you kind of like, what was going on there? And it extrapolates and goes a bit deeper. So it does fill in some of the gaps in the first one, and I think it does a very good job with that. There's a lot of homages to the characters of the first movie. There's actually a scene where you have them up on the wall, which was quite nice, a bit tear-jerky over there. And so the story is a lot deeper. I can't go into that, of course, because there's spoilers. The acting, again, is very, very good in this. We have John Boyega I suppose in one way up against, there's always conflict within these bloody teams. So he's up against Lambert, who's played by Scott Eastwood, who's also quite charming, and he's the sort of, not general, but he's a captain, and he does his job properly. He's a military guy. And then you've got the contrasting Jake, who's just kind of like a Tom fool, and it's a nice dynamic there. I think the interactions between the two of them are very, very good. There's also a young girl in this, and I thought, oh god, it's going to go down the Michael Bay Transformers route. And luckily it doesn't. She's very, very good. She's very endearing and she's very charming. Her name is Katie Spaney, I think that's the way you pronounce it. And she's great in this. She really, really is. And the teaming up between of her and Jake, played by, of course, John Boyega, is really good. The interaction there is fantastic. Watching them, because she's really, really like cheeky as hell. And the sort of the quibs between the two of them is very funny and like I say, a lot better than the first movie, which, oh god, it was quite cringe-worthy actually, some of the acting in the first one. This gets away with it much, much better. Not to say that a lot of the background actors are kind of very, very atypical, very tropey. The young girl is a cadet, and of course she's got to have someone that she's going to fight with, and so she has her, I forget her name, one of the girls who's like, I've tried to get into the Jaeger program 3 times, you just walk in because of this reason, so there's an animosity and fighting between them. So there's a lot of, there is some cheesy stuff in this too, don't get me wrong. This is, of course, Pacific Rim, so it has a lot of cheesy things in it too. The action beats are phenomenal, like really, really phenomenal. It kind of almost steps into some of the Transformers when it, as far as the graphics and the CGI is concerned, but I don't think it actually goes too far in there. It sort of pokes its head and goes, and then carries on being its own Pacific Rim self. So very, very well done. The Jaegers this time, they focus on 4 of them. I would hate to be in the Jaeger with that big Morningstar ball thing because it does fuck all in the movie, to be honest with you. The others are awesome, but that big ball thing, it does nothing! Seriously. Don't know even why I bothered. I was like, you're going to be in the one with the big ball. Oh! See, even the wind agrees. But anyway, other than that ridiculous one, the other Jaegers are fantastic. The CGI is on form with this, and as is, maybe there was model use, I don't know, because it's all in together, but there's scenes where they step in and like into the visor of a Jaeger, and that hasn't been, obviously we haven't seen in the first one, but the way it's done, it looks so real. So the sets are fantastic too. The Jaegers just feel a lot more powerful, not as nimble, I think, as the first movie. They're a bit, or one or two of them aren't as nimble. One of them is very nimble, but they explain that it is like the fastest one out there. But they have a lot more clout. Like when they're hitting each other, you feel it. You're like, ah! And there's a lot of hitting, of course. So the bad things about it, as I said, it's a little bit cheesy in certain areas. A few plot holes here and there. But overall, I think this movie is much better than the first one. As I said, the dialogue is tighter. The humor is there. The 1.5 hours, 1 hour 45 minutes flew by. It was really, really a lot of fun. And if you like the first one, you're going to absolutely love this. I would give this a 7.5. My brother, who was with me, would give it an 8, and he actually watched the original Pacific Rim the night before. So, yeah, so William says 8. I'm saying 7.5 because, like I say, it is not a Shakespeare movie. This is a skit and donner, hit and run, big monster movie. The kaijus in this are fantastic. There's a huge one. Very, very, very cool. So yeah, go out and watch it. I think you really, really will enjoy it. You know what you're going into. It's cheesy, it's fun. Charles Day is brilliant. Oh my god, the movie is, it's like him and John Boyega, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So go ahead and watch it and let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys later. Cheers. Oh yes, cheers. Oh, he spills it all over himself. Fuck.